sitting down. Happy New Year! We made it. Hi, I'm B. I Make Stuff. This is the MakerBee podcast. Mostly I knit. And it's 2026. A whole new year. Whole new B, you know? It's my third time filming this, and I was trying to edit my last recording, and I was like, wow, there's nothing behind those eyes, man. So I think I was in a bad mood and I tried to film it. It wasn't a good idea. So we're here now. Nice to see you. Happy to be here. Beautiful day in Vancouver, BC. Hope it's nice wherever you are. And I want to talk today about what I have made, like I usually, my finished objects, what I'm working on, and then also my goals for 2026, maybe personal as well as knitting and making. Today I am wearing the side tie top. Not sure who it's by, but I know it's not size inclusive, so who cares? And also, there's a curry cardigan with a brooch. I'm feeling very inspired, I think, by Alan Cummings and the Traders. His outfits are awesome, so I'm wearing some plaid. Because Scottish style, Scottish heritage is very much Nova Scotia heritage, literally New Scotland, so, so I see him in all of his Scottish shit, and I'm like, that's so me So I got my brooch, with all the dangling, all my little dongles. And it's a curry cardigan. This cardigan, I feel, has not gotten near enough love. I've never posted it anywhere. It's not on my Ravelry, but it is my most worn garment. It is stained to death. It is not pilled even a little bit. This is Knitting for Olive heavy merino in the color blood orange, I'm pretty sure. And not a pill on her from, I wear it 3 times a week for 2 years now. So, come on, that's amazing. Knitting for Olive heavy merino it's the best yarn that I've ever used for a sweater. I really like it. I wish there was more colors. I know there's already so many, but I want more. That's my only complaint. Let's just start off by talking about what I finished the last couple months. It's been a hard year for me, so I didn't do a whole lot this year, if I'm being honest, but the last 5 months I did finish a few things, one thing a month. So let's discuss. The first thing that you saw last podcast episode is this lovely cocoon choki by Noriko Ichikawa. It is made in Bramble Ridge's linen merino DK, organic merino linen DK. It's their linen and merino blend. It's a non-superwash merino with, I think, 20% linen content. The color is Melly Yellow. I love the color. I believe it's named for Melly Knits. She makes a bunch of bats. She's very popular in the spinning world, I believe. I'm in the spinning world, so I know her there. I love the yarn. It's also wearing quite well, I'd say. My only complaint about it is that linen famously is quite wrinkly, it's easy to wrinkle. And this, you can see, this garment holds on to wrinkles much easier than other garments that I own that are made of wool. Wool also has memory, but not the same kind of crinkle memory as linen, I guess. It's, I really like this pattern. There's some really good underarm shaping that I haven't seen a lot before. It's also a garter edge on the sleeves and not ribbing, which is nice. The only mods I really made was I cropped it just a little bit more. My torso is very, very short, so a crop on me is going to have to be a bit more cropped than the pattern calls for because I've got long legs, but a squat midsection. And then I also made the neckline shorter. It's kind of like a cowl neck when it's not what I've done. And loose around my neck just is not my ideal situation. So made it shorter. Looks great on. I don't have anything to say. Noriko Ichikawa is a really great pattern designer. Everything that she puts out, I'm like, that's so good. Even her most recent pattern is beautiful. I forget what it's called, but so lovely. So yeah, this is getting a lot of wear in my wardrobe, this color yellow. There's colors that cycle through your life. I feel like I had a really big pink phase. I'm stuck with a lot of my pink now that I had a really big pink phase. I had a really big blue phase. I'm still in the blue phase a little bit. I have so many of that like cobalt blue. I have so much yarn in that cobalt blue and I love it. But the yarn or the color that will stay with me forever, and it's like my forever color, is yellow. My cars have always been yellow. My cars, like I said, I have many cars. I just have had one car at a time, like an average person does, but I love a yellow car. My current car is more of a orange, but it looks like craft dinner to me. Like it's a craft dinner color, or in the States, I think you just call it craft mac and cheese, but it can't even call it craft dinner. But it looks like a KD color. But anyways, all that to say, yellow is my forever love. I love wearing yellow. It's just a happy color, man. When I owned a business, our branding was yellow, which I know is kind of a lot for a business, but whatever. I love this, and it's a really soft yarn, really lovely. Wears well. There's not much to say other than that's what I made. I'm really into wearing brooches recently. I don't know if you can tell, but I feel like we're sleeping on brooches in the knitting world. You can really just like add a little something to all your work. She's cute, no? I like her. So that's my first finished object. And then kind of right after that, another brooch on this one actually. All of my knits have like permanent brooches. This is my party hoodie by Invita Virak. The Notorious Knitter is her handle. And it's really lovely. Another Bramble Ridge. I'm trying to use up all of the yarn that I bought at Fibers West last year so I can buy more yarn at Fibers West this year. And so this is the yarn I bought last year. It is a Surrey DK. It is so lovely. It's one strand of Surrey DK on, I believe, an 8mm needle. And if you can just see the fabric is so lush. It's really warm when I wear it. That's why I did no sleeves, because I work at a yarn store, and so I do a lot of like physical labor with my body at work. It's a lot of like, if I'm squatting, I'm like all the way down in a low squat. If I'm up, I'm like up and reaching. I move quickly. It's a lot of sweaty. I don't know how I feel like I do things with my whole body, whereas my coworkers sometimes do them not with their whole body, which makes a lot more sense than what I do. And so I sweat so much at work. So now that I work at a yarn store, I want to wear a knit every day to work. I don't want to wear like long sleeves very much, so I try really hard to knit most things sleeveless these days because I want to wear it to work, and I just can't wear sleeves. It's just too warm. I didn't end up even finishing the arm hem. It's just kind of, it rolls a little bit, and it almost gives me that like shoulder pad look when I'm wearing it, which I love. Very masculine. I chose not to do the sleeves, so I posted on Instagram and I was like, hey, like, is a sleeveless hoodie douchey or is it cool? And all of my enemies told me it was douchey, and everyone who's cool and loves me said it was nice to have no sleeves. So thank you to my friends. A big told you so. I'm really cool to my enemies. Those who believed in me, I love you. To those who did not believe in me, I don't know what to say. We're not friends anymore. The yarn is wearing really well. I think that I was surprised at how well it's wearing, just based on, I don't know, it's really fuzzy, and I thought it would get impacted quite quickly, but it hasn't. The hood design I like quite a bit. I think it's it's like a 3-needle bind-off hood on the side. And it's permanently tied in a little bow. But I would absolutely make this pattern again. It's a really nice layering piece under just a jacket. It's very Justin Bieber, okay? Gotta keep an eye out for Selena. To be honest, his pre-2016 street style little shithead from middle of nowhere, Ontario. He's not from middle of nowhere, but like, who cares where he's from, Ontario? You know what I mean? Sorry, I think it's Barrie. Sorry, people that live in Barrie, my bad. But that kind of like stupid white boy, like Beastie Boys style really appeals to me. If I could combine what Alan Cummings wears with Beastie Boys slash like early Justin Bieber nonsense. Just like that type of masculinity. I would call it almost embarrassing masculinity. Uh, that's what I'm interested in looking like. Not all the time, but sometimes. And so that's kind of what this is. I know the color kind of negates that, but the color's really interesting. It's a pastel actually, but it's also a neon. Who's to say? It is so soft. I will be getting more of this yarn, I believe, at Fibers West if Megan has it, because I think it is my favorite yarn of all time now. It's just it's so nice to work with. I'm gonna stop talking about it, but I did love it very much. I do love it very much. It's a great color. Okay, something I did not show everyone last podcast, but I actually finished before last podcast, is this pressed flowers kerchief. I made it in my own hand spun yarn. This yarn specifically was spun on my drop spindle. It was a Rolex from Kiara Wiggins. I got those Rolex at the Woolen Folk Festival, if you remember all that drama from 2 years ago. That's where or almost 3 now. Is it 3? That's where I got that those Rolex from. And then the pink is a bat from my buddy Natasha. Tashi is like I feel like we aligned very much on color and texture. And yeah, they gave this to me. I think the name of it was Pink Pony Club, which is awesome. There's a bit of blue in there, which is really interesting. The texture is really nice. This pattern, I think, calls actually for a DK or even worsted at times, or sport. My yarn was definitely light fingering because that's how I prefer to spin my drop spindle yarns. So I knit, I think, 5 or 6 more pattern repeats than the pattern called for. So it's a bit bigger than an average kerchief, but that does mean I can do my favorite thing and wrap it like this and tie it really tight like that. And then often I just wear it with a ring, like a ring holding it together like that. But yeah, lovely pattern. I finished it I almost finished it on our staff retreat in September, but I didn't get it done. I thought I would though. Mosaic knitting, man, takes a long time. You really gotta commit to that bit. After that, I cast on the peony vest, so I'll show you the peony vest after. I'm still working on it. But I also finished, right after my garments, I finished, both socks are almost done. The second one, I just have to do the toe, and I maybe lost it somewhere in the ether. But these are by Summerly Knits. They are the True Crew socks. This is the True Crew double rib. She has a technique that I really find interesting, which means that when the colors in your self-striping yarn changes, you don't get the purl bumps. So I don't know if you can see there, but there's no purl ridges. And that's because when every row that the color changes, you just knit your purls. So those bumps end up in the back. And I did look this up online to make sure that I'm not like spoiling a secret from her pattern, because I wouldn't want to do that. But it's a really great technique if you're using self-striping yarn to kind of hide the messiness of the purl color changes. They look so ugly. So when you have it, when they look really good, it's awesome. This yarn is Gauge Dye Works. I am so impressed by Gauge Dye Works. All of their stuff is on a superwash base, and so womp womp for me. I probably won't be buying much from them, but I really couldn't resist. These colors were so lovely, and the amount of math and like thought that goes into making this, I just thought was astounding and worth my money. It's like, you take my money and run, because this is great. Something else that I think is worth noting with this pattern is there's a special heel that maybe somebody come up with, and the way that it shapes my foot I really like. It also like holds the pattern for self-striping yarn without making you do my least favorite thing in the world, which is an afterthought heel. Afterthought heels fit my foot terribly, and so I never want to do them. But this heel, you can see from the side, it just looks really solid. yeah, looks really good. And I did an anatomical toe for this. I always do anatomical toes now. But what I'm finding that I do not like is I know there's a certain spot on both of my feet, on like kind of where under my big toe, the bone there, that my socks wear out. And so if I don't do an anatomical toe, I can switch the feet of the socks and the sock doesn't wear out in that spot as quickly and I get twice the lifespan. So I think what I'm going to do from now on is stop doing anatomical toes even though they fit better. I know. So there's pros and cons for everything, hey? Like, there is no wonder fix for so many of our problems. But yeah, I'm not trying to talk too long about a single sock, but I was really impressed by this pattern, and I love this sock yarn. It's a beautiful, beautiful self-striping yarn. Yeah, so yes, there's that. And then I entered a fugue state. I don't know what the word fugue means. I'm not going to say that. I was like, can I define that word? And I was like, no, I can't. So I'm just going to delete that. I entered a state of obsession and like just I really zoned in. Because I was wearing my hood on my party hoodie that I finished. And I was like, wow, it's so cozy to have a hood on. I was like, I'm actually only going to make hoods for the next month. So I cast on a hood for Zoe for Christmas. I finished that pretty far after Christmas yesterday. She wore it to work today, so I can't show it to you. But she showed me a picture of the Sophie hood, and she was like, I want something like this. And I said, I love you, but I don't love you enough to buy a patina pattern. So I'm going to bastardize this to the best of my abilities in a different gauge using something else. And I believe it was Yosolo Teague that said, if you can copy my patterns without a pattern, then go right ahead. And I actually agree with that statement because hear me out. Here's how. I copied that Sophie hood without paying for the pattern and with a totally different gauge and just kind of like eyeballed it. And I think that's okay. I think that is not, like, usually I'm not really pro pattern sharing in the way that like I want to buy my own patterns because I want to support people because I can financially afford it. But with this one, I was like, this pattern is everywhere. It is the easiest thing to look at. The hood shaping, I just eyeballed it, and it's objectively worse than hers. So I think if you do a bad job and you can accept that, I think that's okay. I think that in the world of like karmatically, I feel this all works out. It's objectively worse, but it still works. It's still totally fine. It still looks really good on Zoe. I'm really happy with it. But yeah, it's kind of like it all comes out in the wash, you know? And if I wanted it to be a perfect pattern, I could have paid for it. So there. But she's happy with it. She doesn't know it's worse. She really thinks it's great. It's just if you have the skill and you know the craft, you're just a little more picky, I think. So then I did finish that. And then I said, I was at work and I was like, I want to host a make-along at work at a yarn store. And my boss was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I said, yeah. And then I made a sample for the store. So this next sample is made with Miles del Uruguay Alpaca Heather. It is the Lot Hood by Knitting in France, I believe. It's so cute on. It's in the colors Hot Toddy and Lagoon. I thought it had a lot more alpaca content than it does. It's actually 70% merino and then 30% alpaca. And I chose the alpaca because I thought it would really help with the twisty, like it would really drape better. Alpaca tends to be more forgiving in that way for me. You can really tell which side I blocked. What happened was I knit this whole thing and then I ran out of yarn. And I had to go to work, and then I left this at work as a sample. So I blocked it before I went to work, and you can really tell that I did this side after I got the yarn at work. It's not laying flat, but it's a really nice pattern. It is one of those patterns that is, I don't think, the most functional in the whole wide world. I don't think I would say the design of the pattern is incredible or anything like that, but I just like it. Hey man, I just like it. It's nice. And the yarn is really nice. I do feel maybe that I'm a little bit sensitive to alpaca, and I didn't realize that before. I definitely soldier through most things in terms of like sensory on my body. But after working with this, and then also I work with Drops Air, I feel a little itchy on my body. So this was the first one I made for the Make-Along. It was sampled at the store for a little while. I did steal it and bring it home for this video. It's going back to work after this. But yeah, lot hood. It's constructed. I didn't weave my ends in. Sue me. This guy, and then you pick it up and you go down, and then you just cast on extra to make the ends. But I'm happy with the colors. I do feel this blue and brown stripe is very in right now. I feel hoods are very in right now. It's all very in right now. Actually, this goes with my outfit pretty well. Does it not? Yeah, more of a fashion piece than a practical piece, but will keep my head warm, that's the important thing. So yeah, the Lot Hood by Knitting and Friends. She's cute. Not much else to say about that. Then, okay, for the actual make-along, which is still going on, by the way, join us if you want to. It's in person, and you have to have bought yarn from the yarn store. But I've been looking at the My Joe's Hood by Norgard Knitters for months now. I believe Mackenzie, M to the third, made it. Anything she does, I will do. My number one most influenceable to me person. And anything that she does, I'm like, I want that. That's so cool. I want to do that. So I did it. I just like to follow her footsteps, you know? Even I think the blue and brown, I'm pretty sure she made a sweater in that last year. The stripes. Sorry, Mackenzie. I'm a fan. What can I say? So this is the My Joe's hood. It is an absolute beast of a hood. It's all garter. You start up top here, you pick up stitches, and then you go, and you go, and you go, and you go, and it becomes just an absolutely massive piece of work. I made it in Drops Air in the color Peacock Blue. And this is incredibly functional. I wore this birding. It was like really windy, I think -2 outside, and I felt snug as a bug in a rug. And I saw so many birds, and it was awesome. But yeah, it's this color. It matches. I got like a really orangey, kind of orangey yellow, very like turmeric color jacket this year for my winter coat. I had to replace my winter coat, which is really sad, but it really works with that color. Looks really nice, kind of graphic together. It's soft. It's a really great pattern. It's a really good alternative to the So Beep Hood Beep by Petite Beep Knit Beep. That was me to censor myself as a joke. Do you know people censor things that aren't actually bad words? I think it's a really funny joke. So I just tried to do it there. And by explaining to you, it's even funnier, right? Yeah. Thanks. So then I did that. And that's my third hood of January. This is my third hood of January. I do have a fourth hood of January that I will show you in my works in progress. Okay. And the very last thing that I'm going to show you is Floppiana. Sweet Jesus. Maybe my worst knit ever. Not ever, but maybe. Worst this year for sure. This is the Garter Stripe Hat by Deegan. Hello? When I posted this on my Instagram story, literally everyone responded with a photo of a traffic cone. Someone, I think, responded with a photo of Snuffkin, which that was the nicest one. And then for me, this is like a baby bottle. This looks like a giant baby is gonna come and suckle this part of my head here. Because it's just too much, man. Deegan is one of those designers that I really love the aesthetics of. And I'm scared about the design. I've never worked with any of their designs before. And so I was like, oh, I'll give this a try. And it looks insane on me. I have a giant head. And I think this is part of the problem. But it was a giant hat, so I was like, giant head on my giant hat, that's proportionizing, perfect. But it was giant on the model who was thin. And stick with me here, I'm about to rant, I think. Show me your accessories on fat models, please, or mid-sized models. Just give me something that isn't like the thinnest person in the world wearing anything oversized, because for me, this isn't oversized, man. With the proportions of my face and my cheeks, it's weirdly small. and dinky in places. And it's not just like I know, it's like, why are you making like even hats a size issue? And it's like, no, man, it's I want to see, if I'm giving you my money, I want to see like forethought, and like I want to see thought put into this. And so now that I'm in this pattern, I'm like so much less likely to trust. I don't trust then people to knit, like, to design patterns that fit all bodies, or at least a lot of bodies in general. Like, they already start on thin ice, and then when I knit a pattern that looks really good on their model styled, and then like poopy caca on me, then I'm like, it's just not gonna happen. I'm like, I really want to knit a few of their designs like so badly, and I might just do it just to see, improve myself. There's a couple of like worsted weight like shirts that I could, or a worsted weight shirt that I want to make, that I'm like, I could crank that out. That's fine. But I'm feeling, and I'm also, I think, pre-sensitive to this conversation because I've had another Flopiana situation. Anyways, to summarize, it's not just about the hat. It's about showing your things on multiple models. Because, hey, yeah, that still, if this was on like a person with like a normal size head and who was like really thin in the face, the jarringness of the point on top would be less jarring. But because it's me and I'm not thin in the face, it's very jarring. Skinny on top. If it was like skinny on top and skinny on the bottom, I could see how it works. But we are round and a point on top, which is not good. So I think but I was so that pissed me off. But I wasn't like thinking too hard about it until I started knitting my next project, which we're gonna move into the whips now. So my next project here is the peony vest. I will take this off and show it to you on my body. The peony vest is by Annie Sews. Annie, whose last name I can't remember. But yeah, I've knit it in some merino DK red that I've thrifted, and 3 strands of Surrey alpaca. Now, I would never knit anything with 3 strands of Surrey alpaca ever, because that is so expensive. But this is yarn that I have in my stash that I dyed 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and I just want to go through it so that it actually gets used up. So I'm really happy with the fabric that I swatched it, and the fabric was really great. Happy with how it turned out. But this actual garment on my body, so I really think that there should be space for newer designers and people making new garments. That's awesome. I also think that people in the knitting world favor niceness over honesty sometimes. And I'm seeing a lot of people making this and raving about it. And a lot of them are thinner. I'm not. So I want to talk to you about fit. Everyone else, their product photos, the sample photos, the armpit is right up under the arm. So right there. And that means that my armpit, if I was in the same place, is like 4 or 5 inches too big. So the grading on this is it seems to have been evenly graded across the board, which is not how bodies work a lot of the time. My camera lost battery, so I had to, whatever. Anyways, this guy. I think in the knitting world, we're often too nice about how a design fits. Except on Ravelry, I really appreciate, like, the real Ravelry users are honest. And I don't want to bring a designer down, that's never what I'm trying to do, but I am trying to be honest with other people who want to make things. I think just as a blanket rule, I want to knit from people who have a lot of design experience, just in the future moving forward. I feel that whenever I take a chance on these like trendy patterns, I get burned. And realistically at this point, I'm so done with this garment, I'm not even gonna like undo it. I'm just gonna finish it and say, that's her. It's a trendy piece. No one's looking at the fit of it. They're all looking at the curvature of the button band, which I guess is the point. But it's still frustrating when you put your time and effort onto it. All this yarn, like I spent like $5 on the thrift store yarn, so it doesn't feel like I've put a whole lot into it. It was really thick needle size, so like it's fine, you know? Like it's totally fine. It is what it is. And we'll see if I like it when it's done. Maybe I'll wear it a few times and like love it. But I just look how much room is under there. I don't know, man. We'll see. She's soft. She's really soft. So at least it's soft. And I'm happy to use up my yarn. So many positives. Maybe I'll give it to a friend that does have bigger arms than I do. I think where I get burnt is that where my body holds fat, it's just like all in my tickle bitties. Like a lot of people have like smaller boobs, but like hold their fat in their stomach. People have, you know, so I have like larger tickle bitties. And like that's where, so when I do like a measurement for how a garment fits me, and I do it with that in mind, I'm like, it's all about best bust size, and my bust size is like just like a bit more than it should be. So it's a bit, I think I have to be more conscious of that moving forward as well. It's not just the designer's fault, it's also mine. I'm taking accountability. Okay, so my last hood of January, I'm saying it, I'm calling it now, my last hood of January. I'm done with hoods. It's over. No more hoods. Extra bits from leftovers from the other hood is this. It's the Lusky hood by Kiyomi and Sachiko Bergen. Really love them as designers. This from Moon and Turtle. I've knit many a pattern from Moon and Turtle. I feel I've knit this Lusky hood 100 times. I haven't. I can't find any of them anywhere. I know that my friends have knit the Lusky hood a few times. Oh, nice. I'm just getting a barber cord so I can do this next part of that I wanted to get done. My friends have knit the Lusky hood a few times, and so like I've helped them throughout like the newer knitters, so I feel like I've knitted a million times, but I haven't. I've knitted this current time that I'm knitting it this one time, which is great. It's a great pattern. You start along the bottom, cast on, and you knit to here, and then, you know, goes on from there. But this is what a hood looks like. I am using my Handspun yarn. It's so funny. If you look up close, here, I'll come close to you. It's a single ply, and I did not block it. I just like spun it and started to use it right away. And I'm so used to spinning a little bit overspun, so it will respin back into like the right amount of the right tension. So it's a little overspun, and you can literally see it, the amount of twist it has. Like it's a twisting this way. Like the yarn wants to go in this direction, which is really funny. But yeah, so I wanted to use this yarn specifically because I wanted to use this white mohair that I had in my stash. It's from Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. The color is Lion Song. Beautiful, beautiful name. And this is what I have to use for the rest of the hood. It's just more of the same hand spun. This is Corriedale that I made roll eggs with like 2 years ago, and I just haven't spun it. So I was like, I want to use this up. I want to get her done. So that's what's happening here. I do love the neon and the blue and the green. I am really happy with it. And I did all this in like less than a week so far. Less than maybe 5 days of work. Because this time last week I was still working on my other hood. Anyways, when this is finished, I will be done with hoods for a long while. This one actually I'm making because I wanted to see how my hand spun yarn in a single ply would wear. And then I added the mohair for extra strength. And then also for function. So this is just like a really functionally warm hood with the mohair. And the Corriedale is spun pretty loose. You can see how loose it is. It was a woolen spun preparation, so it will hold a lot of air. I don't really need that here in Vancouver, but I'm hoping to live somewhere cold one day. Just dreaming, you guys, just dreaming. And also my buddy Mads is making the same hood. So they had a surgery and are recovering, and so I was just like, they were like, I want to learn how to knit. I was like, oh, Okay, you want to learn how to knit? We can learn how to knit. That sounds great. So they're also making the loose cue at the same time. So I mostly am doing it like a little ahead of them to make sure that they feel comfortable with the pattern. They're figuring it out. They're doing a really good job, but I just want to have it done a little before them. So if they have any questions, I can answer the questions. And I think I'll finish this coming weekend. Probably this next week I'll finish it. We have our cast off party for the make along on Thursday, so I hope to be knitting the I cord at that point. And that's that. Okay, so let's talk about my last work in progress, which is also part of my making goals for 2026. I have a few making goals for 2026. The biggest making goal that I have is to have a net D-stash of 2,026 grams. What that means is I want to have used 2,026 more grams than I bring in to my stash. So I find, generally speaking, that I cannot do like a full ban on things. I don't respect authority in that way. And I struggle to, what's the word I'm looking for? I struggle to even like listen to myself. I'm like, this is stupid. I don't want to do that. Fuck that. No way. And so what I end up doing is just like not listening. So I always have to be careful for myself to, instead of saying you can't do that, I have to create towards goals. So what am I moving towards as opposed to stopping myself from doing? It's also inspired by Rachel, whose podcast name changed like literally 5 years ago, but I still in my head call it. The old name, I believe, is the Wool Seed Knitting Podcast. I find her very inspirational. She exists on the opposite spectrum to me in terms of organization and methodicalness around her craft, where I am like, yeah, fuck it, we ball. She's like, I'm doing this, I'm tracking this, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I wish I could be her. I don't think I can, but what I can do is track and like work towards using 2,026 more grams of yarn, getting it out of my stash than I bring in. Right now, we are behind the goal by so much. To make it to the goal, I have to use, I bought essentially 300 grams of yarn to make my two first hoods because they were for work. And technically I did buy the lot hood yarn before 2026, but I can't count things that I'm bringing for 2026 in 2025 and 2026 against it without also talking about yarn for projects in the same way. Anyways, so I bought 300 grams of yarn to make two hoods. So my number is bumped up. If that makes sense. Now I have to knit through. So I want to do a net negative of 2,026. My spinning will count also against this. So if I spin grams of yarn, for example, my hood, like I can count that double because I've spun it and also I'm knitting with it, which is great for my loose hood. So my fiber counts against it. I will not be adding my fiber to my totals of like stash because I'm not trying to penalize myself as much as possible. Like I really want to get this done. So that's the big goal for me. I just want to use 2,026 less grams than I buy, which I think is fine. Right? Right. Yeah. Totally, yeah. And my other goal for this year, I have a lot of sock yarn kicking around. I wear my socks a lot. I like having socks. So my second goal for this year is to make 12 pairs of socks. I've had this goal before. I was reminded by my friends, Megan, I believe Kate as well. They're like, you had this goal like 2 years ago, man. I was like, no, I didn't. I have the memory of a goldfish, okay? I did have that goal. I didn't do it. But I love to set goals. I love the energy of the new year. Sue me. So I am making Anna Liu's toe up, 2 at a time toe up sock pattern right now. Anna Liu is a YouTuber, I believe also who lives in Vancouver. I find her work very inspiring. It's completely, nothing she makes, I would make. Like, I find her work very inspiring because it's a totally different world than the knitting world that I live in. And she also is very methodical and like quite girly and feminine. So I really appreciate watching her thoughtfulness and how she interacts with her fiber, because that's just not how I do mine. Um, and if you only watch people who do the same stuff as you, how are you being inspired? It's just the same people all the time doing the same stuff. I don't need that. So it's nice to have outside perspectives. Anyways, this is her sock pattern for 2 at a time toe up socks. And I bought it and I'm liking it so far. I have not done 2 at a time sew up socks previously. I've only ever done 2 at a time cuff down. I kind of like the wide toe box this has given me. Wide toe box. I have not been barefoot shoe pilled yet, but maybe I will be. But yeah, this is my Christmas Eve cast on from Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. Yeah, she's cute. My whip. So 12 pairs of socks this year, 1 pair a month. I think I can do it, right? What do you think? And then also generally always my goal is to sew more. I like sewing. I don't like sewing. I don't like sewing at all. I lied. I don't like sewing. I actually hate sewing. I love wearing things I've made. So here we are. Just, that's that. You know? Yeah. Other goals include, I read a lot of books last year. I read 80 books, 90 books, 95 books. I don't know. I read a lot of books. I don't remember the final count at the end there. But my other goal this year is to, a lot of them were fantasy books. Hey, if you made this far in the video, we can get these now. I had a really bad year last year. I feel like 2025 like held me by the scruff of my neck and like beat the absolute living shit out of me. I became a full-time caretaker. My mom traveled to the States to get like medical care that will hopefully save her life. It was just like a bunch of really, really heavy things, Like, my mom was young. She got sick out of the blue. Moving to a new city where I don't know many people, kind of going from like a walkable city to a city that you either have to drive or bus anywhere to get anything. It's been like hard on my soul. Like, I feel like I lost my juice and my emphasis on life. So I spent a lot of time reading books that help me escape my life and the world. Because hey, have you looked up recently? We're out there, man. Like, so just escapism. But time to lock back in, I think. 2026 is the year that I get my sparkle back. Annabelle, my buddy, sent me a meme and it was like, I'm gonna get my sparkle back. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna get my sparkle back. And then also recognizing that, like, my mom is still really sick and we are still trying so hard to make sure she will be around for a long time. And the city is still overwhelming and different to me, and I'm still doing a lot of stuff that's hard, and the world's not getting any better. So it's kind of like getting your sparkle back is a journey, not a destination. So I just like focusing on taking good care and choosing to sparkle, or like, I guess it's hard to choose to sparkle when things are hard. It's hard to choose to wear a fun outfit when you're feeling sad. It's hard. So doing the thing that's hard, even though I know it's good for me. Like reading books that aren't just fluff and, the middle of nowhere, different world, different universe. It's also about reading books that make me feel connected to my community and make me feel a sense of pride in my community. So 1 pair of socks a month, 1 book that is of substance and value to society. Nonfiction, probably. Let's be honest. And stash down 2,026 grams. I am not doing well on those goals at all. I have half of a sock finished. I have no intelligent books read. And I've actually added 300 grams to my stash. But it's about the journey, man. It's about the journey, not the destination, okay? And I love to set goals because I love to dream. I'm a dreamer. We're all dreamers. It's nice to dream, right? Right? So yeah, that's my dreaming. Okay, I have to go to work now, I think. What time is it? Oh shit, yeah, I gotta go to work. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it so much. I had a lot of fun here. I love doing this. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Or the week after. The week after that, who's to say? Okay, Illy. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.